Hey, it's Romy. Welcome to the channel, Virgo. This is your July 2021 soul story. So if you're sun, rising or moon, this general reading might just give you a little bit of a heads up to move through the next few weeks. So I'm going to open up your reading this month with a card, an energy guide for you from the new Painted Runes deck. Of course, traditionally the runic symbols are found on stones, originating from a Germanic alphabet and then used by the Nordic culture to really connect into one's higher self, one's higher wisdom. And there's a beautiful energy running throughout this deck of courage and heart and our inner warrior, really helping us to find that sense of fearlessness. And we open up with this energy of Nauthiz, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, which is about this aspect of having a set of circumstances that feel restrictive or constraining surrounding you, and sometimes inviting you to confront inner feelings or aspects of the self that are a little bit more uncomfortable, but at the same time then delivering these extraordinary silver linings and breakthrough energies. And I think that, you know, one of the things that's really poignant for me for Virgo as we move through July is that as you start to really change the way that you think about your life, this is when you actually start to change your life in really profound and significant ways. Now, the energy of this particular runic guide is connected from a tarot perspective into the energy of the Nine of Wands, the Two of Swords, brings in aspects that we deal with when we connect to the energy of the devil. But all of this is about really powerful transformation of self. And, you know, as we move through a really enriching month this month, you're going to be finding yourself understanding from a deeper level than you ever have before that you have what it takes not only to survive, but to start to implement so much of what you've gained and learned through recent experiences so that you can reclaim and rebuild aspects of your life or your experiences in a way that's much more meaningful for you. And I think how you do relationships is getting put under the microscope, if you like. And, you know, as we activate that 11th house of Cancer season, of course, the way in which you are utilizing the support of your community, your network, technology, even the friendships in your life is going to be coming forth to say, you know, you're not an island, you don't have to do this alone, but at the same time, there needs to be a deeper reckoning from your perspective about how you want to start to put these changes into effect in your life. Because I think what's going to be happening for many Virgos is this recognition of the caretaking role that you have as just a natural default setting where you've been the steward for someone or something in your life, and how that aspect of codependency and really how you see yourself in that relationship is now starting to be mirrored back to you in ways that wants to set you free, you know? So there is some deeper layering that's kind of coming up, and we're going to be breaking this down. Now, we've got the Four of Coins, Four of Pentacles emerging as your first tarot energy guide this month, and it's really about looking at how we put into place a solid, more firm foundation from an emotional perspective, but also so that we can start to build on things moving forward. And it may come through like a whisper and it may come through like a tannoy announcement, but this understanding of your perception of how you're seen in the relationships in your life and how you're showing up is going to be really an interesting time for you to be reflecting and working with. Now, you may feel quite shut down or unable to speak or express or share, or perhaps choosing to do so, or even coming up against somebody that's displaying that kind of an energy, especially through that initial part of July as we're in this very emotive Cancerian energy. What I do want to say to you is that we have a really interesting astrological aspect happening this month with Mars and Venus both in the sign of Leo and coming into conjunct on the 13th, just after the new moon on the 9th, and Mercury moving into Cancer by way of the energy of how we communicate, going into this sensitive, emotive sign. And what happens there with that Mars and Venus alignment is that both are our physical energy, the expression of our physical energy and our emotional energy can come together in this really unique blend and fusion in ways that we'd never anticipated. And let me put that into context. It's almost like saying, polar opposites, or things that you would never imagine would work, or people that would agree, or how you can find a way forward or a solution to something, all of a sudden presenting itself in a way that says, yes, this is a way forward, this is what we can do. So it's very progressive, it's very expansive, it's very opening up, and it is going to deliver choices, and it's possibly going to give you the opportunity to try to create a much healthier balance in your life, giving you the opportunity to start to reclaim. And perhaps that reclaiming is about reclaiming aspects of yourself that maybe you've lost through, situations or experiences that maybe felt like they were robbing you of something, or maybe felt like they were distracting you for such a long time that you weren't able to use your voice or move in the energies of things that really deeply nurtured or soothed or brought out the best in you. And so there is this aspect of you weighing things up and really coming to terms with so much through the course of, the first part of July. Now, some of the energy is quite provocative this month. It sort of puts us in a sense of feeling pressured, feeling under scrutiny, feeling like we have to deliver, we have to step up, we have to show up. And that can cause frustration. It can get us feeling a little bit upheavaled and disconnected in how we're thinking or in how we are trying to approach things. And so maybe some ruffling of the feathers are going on for you or with people around you. But these are kind of transient, momentary, short, sharp bursts that, they don't have any really lasting impact. Now, we definitely have some after quakes, that are emerging through that kind of eclipse season. So you also need to pay attention to what was being indicated to you over the last few weeks. And I think there's a deep recognition for Virgo this month about how precious your time is. It's such a precious resource for you, and it's really one of the greatest riches that you have in this lifetime. And I think that you're going to be putting strategies and plans in place to bring in a better sense of balance for yourself moving forward. But that might mean asking yourself some of the difficult questions, and also looking at where some of the resistance is coming up for you. Death is coming in with this energy of beautiful change, and that means that we have to let go. There are aspects to ourselves, to what is going on around us, to perhaps particular situations or people that must come to a point of completion and ending, and that can definitely feel uncomfortable at times. But of course, in doing so, you are liberated and you create space in your life, and sometimes this impetus brings about such a necessary change. So recognizing where you might be resistant to some of this is going to give you everything that you need to know about the way that you're thinking about your life right now and how you're perceiving what's happening to you. There's such kind of rich information in this that's happening. Now, death, of course, is linked to that energy of Scorpio, and we always have the beautiful vision of it rising like a phoenix from the ashes. And I think there is this part of you that wants to reclaim and rebuild and kind of move forward. Now, of course, as we come more deeply into the month, we hit Chiron moving retrograde in Aries again, demanding that we confront our inner feelings. What I do want to just make you aware of is that even before we get to that point of it stationing retrograde, Chiron's going to be making some more positive aspects. And so where you have been doing the work and acknowledging different aspects of your healing journey, Virgo, you are going to see some immediate manifestation and some results coming in that directly indicate to you this is the bounty, this is the gift, this is the blessing of what you've been working on. And whether that's been about inner child work or coming up in love relationships or scarcity or your money story, any aspect of your life that you feel you've really been taking time to quietly reflect, take stock, and bring about some meaningful change as you heal and release and allow yourself that growth. But you are going to see some really beautiful things showing up. It's a month when lots of big news is coming through, and that news might come in unexpectedly as Uranus makes some positive aspects with the Sun and Mercury, meaning that it might come in a way that you hadn't anticipated or expected, and that could give you a much bigger sense of security in some aspect. You know, we've got the Ten of Coins, Pentacles coming in here. Firm focus perhaps on what's going on in and around your family situation or dynamic at the moment. And perhaps you're also looking at legacy or ancestral issues. You know, maybe that's from a healing perspective, or even looking at more practical matters in some way. But what I do see is that with both the 4 and the 10, there's a firm indication that what is available to you in the energy of July, Virgo, is this what is it going to take for me to feel more secure about stepping out in the way that I now want to, how I want to express myself. Like, what does that kind of a life look like for me, and where do I have to make the adjustments and changes so that I can become more grounded and release myself, you know, release some of these tethering connections that I've got that are no longer serving or are just really, really outdated. Now, we have Vesta moving, the goddess asteroid, into the sign of Libra on the 19th of the month, and I feel like it is giving you this inner sense of like balance. And you know, are we ever truly balanced in mind, body and soul? I think it's like a constant cycle that we're working to make those continuous ongoing adjustments with. But there's something in and around that time. We also have then Venus moving into your sign on the 21st, so that mid, you know, to the second part of the month, you're really starting to come to terms with something very, very important in your life, Virgo. And I think that might be having a direct impact in regards to some of the family connections and relationships that you have. From a financial perspective, there seems to be an awful lot of focus in and around your security, and you may be releasing, letting go, coming to terms with the ending, a loss of something. And you know, when we move into Leo season, of course it is that 12th house of closure, release, and you allowing things to move out of your life again, so you can create space for that beautiful solar returns energy to come in and catapult you forward into what the next chapter's going to look like for you. The full moon comes in Aquarius on the 23rd of this month of July, and around that time I feel like we need to be prepared for a little bit of a push-pull energy. Your King of Cups demonstrating this water vibration. So perhaps it is a person, Scorpio, Pisces or Cancer, certainly somebody displaying that kind of an energy towards you, looking for emotion from you in some way, wanting to discuss things with you in a much more sensitive, much more deep and meaningful way. And perhaps this is an aspect of yourself that you're trying to connect to, come to terms with. And there's a real emphasis through the month of July about recognizing that sometimes it's not more motivation that's required. You know, I think quite clearly, you know, the things in your life that you would like to achieve, that you aspire to, that you want to surround yourself with, or you would like to embody. What's really going on so often is that there's a fear that, you know, being able to do that might it might not work. It might kind of trigger a wound. It might be another disappointment or another heartbreak, or there's just this aspect of like our own limiting belief and fear sort of holding us back. And so there is this aspect of this inner parenting that's coming up through July that says, you know, we have to be that nurturer, that beautiful, supportive, loving energy, and where we might not be receiving that from the people around us in ways that we would like or that we want, in the kind of you know, in the guise of just needing to kind of help us break through or move past something. There is this invitation directly for you to be able to start to apply that to yourself this month. Now, I do see the King of Cups as it sits surrounding all of this kind of earthy energy is wholly necessary actually to balance things out a little bit. Even death linking into Scorpio is a water energy. So what we're doing is we're also kind of we're nurturing and we're making for fertile soil here. So everything that's starting to emerge and happen for you through this month of July is really conducive to some beautiful things starting to blossom and take shape for you in the coming weeks. And it is going to require you to kind of invest an aspect of your emotional self. And you might be a little bit hesitant or fearful to do that, you know, perhaps based on past experiences. But now that Mercury is direct as well, and there's much more clarity You've got more courage of the conviction coming through. And even though there are other planets in retrograde, it's still a fantastic time to sort of put things out there, to start to state what you want, to share, to launch, to create new initiatives, to go after things. And what we see is that when you show a little bit of that passion, when you are able to demonstrate through your own spiritual wisdom, how you've come to recognize not only your own value, but actually how you feel about something or someone, and you're displaying and sharing that information, then people are getting on board and you're really starting to see things moving in a direction that feels much more positive for you. Now, Jupiter's moving, it's retrograde in Pisces right now, yeah, but it's moving, dipping back into Aquarius on the 28th. Jupiter in Pisces is so interesting because it's that 7th house of relationships. And like we said, the way in which you do relationships and how they're showing up for you is really being highlighted with that transit. And, you know, what you might be set to see, Virgo, is that, you know, there are new people entering your life that could, for some of you, actually end up being the one. You know, this is a time where we form really strong, powerful, loving bonds. Jupiter expands everything. Now, as it's retrograde right now, there is the reminder that we have to do the inner work first. You've got your King of Wands energy coming in here with the King of Cups. So these two powerful masculine guides sort of taking you by the hand and kind of with the elements of fire and water, almost helping you to tap into parts of yourself that feel a little bit more uncomfortable or that you don't readily relate to so much, and saying, you know, you do have this within you. There are parts of you that you can connect to that can help you to feel more balanced in yourself. Now, of course, you might have a fire sign coming through, Sagittarius, Aries, or Leo. I do think that these energies want to come in a supportive, progressive, advanced way for you. Now, you do have the energy of death here, so maybe there is a transformation that requires to take place in relation to specific connections. So that might be an experience for some of you. I do have this sense around that kind of full moon in Aquarius, you are being given information and insight, whether it comes spiritually or from people around you, about you, that's going to be landing really powerfully, because you're going to start to see something that perhaps you'd never acknowledged before. Now, that doesn't have to be negative. Yes, it might be slightly triggering, because it's meant to sort of give you that opportunity to reconcile and heal and come into alignment and accept that everything about you is important. All aspects of the self are important here. And I think it can make a huge difference in the perceived way that you hold yourself to account, like how you define success, how you define kind of what is going to make you happy. I think you're going through some like really powerful shifts and changes in the way that you're speaking to yourself, and that kind of inner dialogue, that self-narrative, as we move through Leo season especially, is helping you to find a new level of confidence and belief in yourself that, honestly, with some of the other astrological energies of this month and just the general collective vibe, could really deliver some beautiful miracles for you. Wow, we have another king showing up for you here. So King of Coins, King of Pentacles, of course, links into your energy. And so interesting here that, you know, all the kings depicted in black and white, waiting for you to colour in. You know, waiting for you to step forward and say, like, how do you want to envisage this? How do you want this to come to life? Very powerful, important people, especially males, showing up to help advance you through the course of July. Or if you are feeling that you are having a more challenging, problematic relationship with your divine masculine within yourself, this again is an important month to be able to start to heal and to work on that at a really deep level. Remember, Nauthas helps us to do that work in parts of our soul that perhaps we've been too frightened or scared to kind of tap into previously. But there's something about you kind of having this now or never mentality where you're like, I really want to deal with this. I really want to kind of get to the root of this. I want to move past this. I'm ready. Like, let's take this on. And, you know, what comes from that is this burst of sort of self-motivation and determination that I see, that you're just you're not gonna stop until you've actually like completed the cycle with something, you know. So even in the past, if you've struggled to kind of stay consistent or committed to something, there's an energy in July for you, Virgo, that's really powerful in saying that, you know, perhaps some of the healing shifts that are going to happen are just going to make you just transform the way you see yourself, and that's going to be all it takes in order for you to show up for yourself in a really powerful way. And so, you know, setting these goals and having a sense of strategic vision and planning for what you want to do next and what changes you want to make, I see as being really important. And actually all of these kings individually have got amazing wisdom and insight for you. And here we have things coming to life with the vibrancy and the energy of the Page of Wands. News and communication really opening up your mind and your world, actually. So from a networking perspective, remember 11th house in Cancerian season says, how are you utilizing what's available to you to reach further and to expand your network? And whatever it is that your particular goal or aspiration may be, whether it's personal or professional, just if it's about self-education or wanting to connect to more friends, wanting to meet new people, be inspired at a different level, put yourself in amongst an elevated vibrational energy, and, you know, really start to align to your hopes and dreams and ambitions, which is the 11th house energy. Something is sparking in you so powerfully, and I think it's as a result of the influence and the guidance that these combined masculine energies are bringing through for you. And it's interesting because when we talk about inner parenting and the kind of nurturing and the compassion and the loving energy, and, you know, sometimes by default we move into that sort of divine feminine, but here we are saying no, actually it also needs to come from that masculine part of yourself. You know, where do you need that beautiful sense of reassurance? And as you start to give that to yourself, you are opening up. There's just something opening up about you, the way that you feel easier in terms of how you're communicating, how you're sharing your ideas. So within the workplace, within your business, even within your family environment, or, you know, the relationships that are important to you, it's like you feel more comfortable and more safe to actually say, this is what I think, this is what I feel, this is what I want, and therefore your needs are going to start to be met in new ways because people just didn't know. You know, people weren't aware. Maybe you were a little bit more subdued or quieter about what it was that was really going to make the difference for you. Maybe you didn't even know, Virgo. So the transformational energy of the last few weeks, and as it continues through July, is really helping you to change the way that you think about yourself and your life. And there's a sense of admiration that comes from you towards yourself that I utterly adore. And I think it's about bloody time that you really held yourself up in the beautiful, radiant, you know, shining light that you are, and you realize that, you know, the caretaking role first and foremost needs to be to the self. And this Four of Wands energy, a celebration of something new, coming together in this beautiful union and building this powerful new solid foundation. You've got a couple of fours coming up here, which I really love for you because it is bringing in that harmonious balance and allowing you to kind of build on something from an emotional perspective that tops up that inner well of energy. You are accessing higher wisdom from source more than you ever have before, and it might feel strange, it might feel very different and new to you. Please trust it. Please trust the ways in which you are starting to receive information and intuitive nudges. You know, it's so important because it is helping you to reclaim and rebuild aspects of the relationship with yourself, and that's going to be everything. So we're just going to take a look and see how the Goddess Oracle here wants to just join this conversation. Okay, we have Calliope, and it's elocution. Your words have power. Use them with clear intent. She's kind of rising up through the clouds here, isn't she? And she's got the microphone, and, you know, there's something unapologetic about saying, I'm ready to express what I want and what I need. I'm ready to articulate it from a place that feels in complete sync and alignment with what I've been through and is reflective of the experience and the knowledge and the wisdom that I've attained as a result of that. It helps me to address what I know to be my own inner wealth and natural natural gifts and energy and love that I have to bring to each and every situation. And it just is something to shout about. It's something to share. It's something to talk about. And, you know, we have this kind of almost air-like energy, which is, for me, meaning that it's moving very quickly, but it's also directly connected to the thoughts that you're thinking. You are more powerful than you have ever been, Virgo. This is coming through for all of the signs this month. How are you using that power? Where are you directing it? What are you doing with it? And it's like, it's time now. It's time to kind of take that energy and command it in new ways. Take back control of aspects of your life that you feel have been distracted for too long, or in the control of someone or something outside of yourself. And I love the fact that she's almost like singing to the angels here. That's how it feels to me. We've just got this kind of connection to a higher wisdom that's coming through, and she just looks at peace. You know, you can even see this wing that's kind of coming out of the back from her. But intentional action, the observation that you come to, the awareness that's emerging for you, and then what you do with that is going to deliver some extraordinary results, not only this month but for the rest of the year, as you start to see things lining and connecting up really powerfully for you. So Virgo, this is a general reading for the month of July. I'm going to go ahead and pull us some clarifying cards for the extended version. So the extended, we talk for another 20 minutes or so, and within that time there's just the opportunity to go a little bit deeper into some of these messages. So I'm going to invite you to think about a question that I might not have answered in the main spread, and we'll put a couple of cards down for that for you. You can find the link for that in the description box in the comment section underneath. It's a way to support all of the work that I do in my channel, and I really appreciate those of you that invest in me in that way. Thank you so much. So let's just begin with this Four of Coins, Four of Pentacles energy. We've got another four coming in. Six of Wands. This aspect of trust and sabotage, where you've held yourself back, where you're holding yourself back, really being highlighted. Another energy of death coming through. Scorpio energy might be particularly significant for you this month. A beautiful sense of the Ten of Cups coming in here. Very strong family situations arising for some of you as well in this month. Another Page of Wands. Okay, we've got all the Kings now. Look at this aspect of leadership though, and really stepping up. I think there's such an opportunity for you to demonstrate that for yourself. Leveling up in all aspects of your relationships right now. Again, this visioning and planning is so powerful. Okay, there's our Divine Feminine. Beautiful balancing energy coming in. Beautiful offers making their way towards you this month. Okay. All right, I'm going to leave it there, Virgo. Thank you so much for tuning in for this month, and I appreciate you. If you're joining me for the extended, I look forward to continuing this conversation. Otherwise, I'll tune in with you next month. Bye for now.